Windows Terminal has a ton of customizations that you can use to optimize how you use Copilot CLI. So in this video, we'll talk about how you can make a new profile that opens right into the Copilot CLI, as well as making Copilot honk. So let's get started. So to start, let's say I want Copilot to always launch whenever I open a terminal profile. I can create a profile just for Copilot by going into settings and then adding a new profile. So the way that I like to do this is I'll click add a new profile here at the bottom, and I like to duplicate a profile I've already customized or I already have set up. So I often duplicate my PowerShell profile, but it just depends on what shell you want to use. And then when you hit duplicate, it'll add that profile here at the bottom as a copy. And then you can change the name as well as the command line executable, starting directory, etc. So I've already done this and created a GitHub Copilot profile that I've hidden for now, but we can unhide it from the dropdown here. And then when I hit save, we'll see my GitHub Copilot profile appear in my dropdown. Now, things that I changed after making the copy is the name to GitHub Copilot. And then I also changed the command line and what happens when this runs. So this is the executable that runs when the profile is launched. So I wanted to make sure that PowerShell launched, but then with the command Copilot. So this is the same as opening PowerShell and then typing Copilot and hitting enter. Now Terminal will do this automatically when I open that profile. Before I open it, one other thing that you may want to change is the starting directory. So I have this set to just the user profile, which is the root on Windows. But if you want a Copilot profile for a specific project that you always open, you can change this to the directory of that project, and then Terminal will launch you right into the project when that tab is opened. I also changed the icon to a GitHub Copilot icon that I found online, but you can do whatever you want here as well. So let's make sure everything is saved, and then if I go into my dropdown and I hit GitHub Copilot, I did change the background, I forgot to mention, but here it's launching Copilot automatically, and it's in my root folder that I set it to, and then I can hit yes, I trust this folder, and then I'm directly in Copilot. To skip that yes, I trust this folder thing, you can also save that folder as a trusted folder with Copilot settings, and then you don't have to hit that prompt every time you launch Copilot. So that's how you can launch Copilot directly right from a terminal dropdown. Really, the key part is this command line executable with -c Copilot. That's what you're going to want to do if you're running PowerShell. Now let's say I'm just in PowerShell and I want to see how many tokens I have left in Copilot. I have Oh My Posh running here in my prompt, as you can see. It doesn't look like a regular PowerShell prompt. If you want to learn how to get started with Oh My Posh, I have a whole in-depth tutorial on my channel, so go ahead and check that out. We can add a GitHub Copilot segment to this prompt. So if we head into Oh My Posh docs, which is at ohmyposh.dev, and I'll have a link in the description, we can head over to Get Started, and then we'll want to jump down to Segments here on the left, and CLI. And here there's a bunch for different CLI segments. We're going to click on GitHub Copilot. This will add a usage graph into your Oh My Posh prompt. So it'll kind of look something like this, depending on how much capacity you have remaining. And you can customize this with all of the properties here. I'll just show a basic example. So you can copy this JSON out and put it into your Oh My Posh theme, which I've done already and I've simplified. So in VS Code, I've opened my Oh My Posh theme that I have running. And here I have my segments array. This is specifically the segments array that's on the right alignment of the prompt. So there's segments on the left, which is kind of what I showed. I didn't have any right segments lit up. And then there's segments on the right, which I'm adding the GitHub Copilot one to. So here I have my Copilot segment, which just shows the percentage gauge of how many requests I have left. And then once I've added this segment in, I want to go authenticate in order to get this lit up. So on this doc site, there's Oh My Posh auth Copilot. You'll want to run this in order to get your Copilot segment authenticated to pull that data in. So back in Terminal, we'll run Oh My Posh auth Copilot, and I'll go through this flow. Okay, now I'm authenticated and I should be able to see my Copilot segment lit up. And now you can see I've got my little Copilot gauge showing the amount of premium requests that I have left. And this is just running in PowerShell. I'm not running Copilot, the executable. It's just working as it is. Now the last thing that's really fun and just a little goofy is that you can customize terminal's bell sounds. So I did that by making my bell sound the Untitled Goose Game honk. So I'll show you how to do that. So as I'm working, Windows will sometimes ping me based off Outlook emails or Teams messages, etc. But I really want to know when Copilot needs my attention in the terminal, and the standard bell sound just wasn't attention grabbing enough. So Windows Terminal actually lets you change the bell sound with the bell sound setting. And the way that we tested this and made sure that it worked was that we played with the Untitled Goose Game honk noises. So there's a Reddit post with a bunch of MP3 files of different honks that someone created and put into a zip file. I'll put a link to this in the description as well. But we can take this zip file, extract it, and then point Windows Terminal's settings to an array of these MP3 files, and then Terminal will randomly pick one whenever the bell sound is emitted. So I've already downloaded the zip file and I extracted everything. So now we want to go into our settings.json file for Terminal. A quick way you can get there is if you open the dropdown and hold Shift, this will open Terminal's settings.json file. You can also open it down here. If you're in settings, you can click open JSON file here at the bottom. So in this file, we want to add a new setting called bell sound. And this can take just one string to an MP3, or it can take an array of strings with file paths to those MP3 files. I've set this in my defaults folder, which will apply to all of my terminal profiles, but you can also just set this to a particular profile if you want to do that as well. So you would put that in the profiles object somewhere down here under profiles and then in the list. So here we have bell sound, and then we've got an array of every MP3 file that was in that honk zip file that I unzipped. And I put it in my .copilot folder under sounds just so I had a place to put it. This sounds folder doesn't actually exist, I just made it, but all of my Copilot configurations are in here. And so since I provided an array, Terminal will randomly pick one of these sounds to play whenever the bell sound is emitted. So let's try that. So here we already launched Copilot because we made that profile for it. I'm going to change the current working directory to a project folder that I have so we can use Copilot a little bit better. So /cwd will change the current working directory, and I'm going to point to my GitHub repositories and we'll go into there. So now I can ask it something like, what does this project do? Just to get Copilot to send a bell sound. Copilot will send a bell sound whenever it needs your attention or if it's completed something. So if there's an error or it requires input, it'll emit that sound. So we should hear a honk pretty soon once this is done. So we all heard the honk. That's great. And I feel like that's something that would be really distinguishable compared to all of the other Windows sounds that come out while we're working. So that's just a fun way to get Copilot to sound a little bit different and get your attention a little bit faster. We can go through a few more of these sounds just for fun. So I can say, emit the bell sound a few times for me. Okay, it only did it once, so we can do it again. Cool, so that's how you can get GitHub Copilot CLI to honk at you and grab your attention. Well, I hope you go and have Copilot honk for you over in your Windows terminal, but I really hope that something was helpful in this video, especially launching Copilot directly with a profile or seeing your remaining requests with Oh My Posh. But for now, that's all I have for this video, and I hope I'll see you in the next one.